useful a workout was that tonight against the West Ham under-21s?
Yeah, I thought it was good again. After a real tough week, we put them, real uh, big situations. I think, obviously then to get them going, get the legs going again, and get them through, a lot of them through 90 minutes was another good, tick box, if you like. I said, early on in the season, it's not about the results and everything now. It's about, sort of starting to build momentum. We put a little bit more into them yesterday about how we want to play, what we want to do, and everything else. And sometimes they're going to get it wrong, and then there's times when you get it right and it looks really good. So yeah, we've just got to keep building on that. Now we start sort of coming off them in the next 10 days, because they've worked, really solidly for, a good 4 or 5 weeks now, or 4.5 weeks I should say. Now Saturday's going to be a big test again for us, which is going to be a great test going into the first game of the season, so which we're really pleased about, and obviously to celebrate Sam as well. So yeah, look, it's been for me a real positive 4.5 weeks, if you like.
We'll come to Sam in a moment or two, but are you happy with the way the fitness levels are at this point? Are you sort of on course to have them all ready for the new season?
Yeah, that's the plan. You want them to be ready. You know that they're not going to be probably proper match ready because of the minutes what they gain and everything else, but you can never sort of replicate league games. So what you've got to do is try and do that through hard work and sometimes playing them under fatigue, which they've done over the last 4 or 5 games. And again, we just come off them a little bit more yesterday, just so that they had a little bit more in the tank today. And then obviously the next 3 days are important. Really recovery, rest and recovery tomorrow. They would be in tomorrow recovering and in the pool and doing all the bits right. And then obviously Thursday and Friday gives us an opportunity then to have a little look at maybe have a look at Birmingham, but more realistic. It'll be us looking at ourselves and what we're going to be wanting to do in the next, in the coming weeks and throughout the season.
Obviously fitness is important, but you're also keeping an eye, I'm sure, on the transfer market. Any imminent signings to boost your squad? You've made plenty of new signings already, but are there more imminent?
Yeah, well, I'm open so, Tim. Obviously, I don't think we're pushing hard on in every aspect, in every department really. We want to get some defenders, attackers, midfielders. We want to get a few more to help the squad. As you can see, we're probably a little bare at the minute, but look, it's not for the wanting of getting people in. We've got to make sure that they're the right ones, and make sure that it's right for us and moving forward. The most difficult part of it is, Tim, and even being honest, is that the championship starts a week later, and then then the Premier League starts 2 weeks later. So they're all now 2 weeks behind in terms of where they are in their pre-season. So they'll be going off to America, to Asia, all them countries now, all them Premier League and Championship sides in the next week, and that's probably no good for us. So because we're going to have to wait, and then it might be the end of the window where we see a lot of outgoings from the Premier League, where you'd normally see the under 23s or 21s as they know now. You'd see them coming out a bit earlier, and you may get them for the first game of the season, certainly the second one. It might now be the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so the league hasn't helped us in that respect. So that's why it's hard, and because you look at the lads who are out of contract, half of them get snapped up quite quickly. And again, we've got to see where we're at and what we're doing. So, as I said, it's not for the one trying. We are, and we're working hard on that side of it as well. And I'm hoping that we will have more signings coming in, before the season starts. But we've got to be patient, and we've got to be right in the ones we do sign.
Sure. Okay. And finally, we mentioned him already. Sam Hoskins, testimonial game at the weekend, celebrating 10 years with the Cobblers. What a servant he's been to Northampton Town. Yeah,
certainly. Well deserved of it. And we'll all enjoy that moment for Sam. Hopefully, we can build again on this performance with another, so hopefully a bit of a cleaner performance, if you like, in terms of possession, and also, us being out of possession, getting them little moments right, because I thought there was times where we were just a bit off it tonight. But look, it's only the first time that I've started working on them little things. So, you know, really on the training ground, we've showed them visually from the beginning, but you know, sometimes it just takes that little bit of confidence when they hear it from you on the training ground to get after them and get going. And I'm sure, you know, because I'm really impressed and pleased with how they take the information on. I think you know, the next game is going to be really important, and then we've got a real big week then to work on Wigan and how we're going to attack them.
And just on Sam again, sometimes testimonials come along for players who are coming to the end of their careers, perhaps even after their careers are finished, but he's still very much part of your plans here, I would imagine.
Yeah, look, he's done fantastically well, hasn't he? You know, and I think, you know, it's a credit to him, the shape he's in, you know, and all the, you know, keeping himself fit. You know, last year he worked through a lot in terms of managing his knee and stuff like that, but this time he's come around. We had to manage it early on in the pre-season, but yeah, he's been really good in all the running. He's been up there, and I think he's feeling really good. And like I say, now hopefully when we come off them in the next 10 days, in terms of not putting them through the mire, if you like, and I'm taking them to them levels and just sort of, you know, going into a normal week, I would see it. Hopefully, you know, we'll see the you know, the relevance of what we've done over the last 5 weeks, and then we'll see them, you know, in a real good place and fresh and ready to go.
These players aren't going to forget this pre-season, are they, Kevin?
Well, they keep telling me it's the hardest one they've done. So, listen, look, it was all thought out. We're still, and it will be throughout the season. We've planned it with the strength and conditioning, so that it all matches up. It all comes together, and hopefully that's what we're seeing. And as I say, we want to be as fit as we can so that we can, you know, last them 90 minutes, we can go again, we can keep going. That's really important. And then, you know, the fitter you are, the more clearer you are in your mind, and because, you know, it's not, you know, not mentally tough for you on the pitch, because you feel good and you feel fresh. So hopefully that'll help with decision making in you know, in final minutes of games and moments of games. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully what's going to be a good progressive season for us again.
Thanks,
Thank you, mate.